Elden Ring Nightreign. It's a game that I got the opportunity to play very recently, about 2 weeks ago. My friend got an early access copy, so I went over there to sit it out, tried it out. First impressions, as a kind of general thing, I'd say it's pretty good. So if all you wanted was like a general review, you can click off now because I don't want to be wasting your time. But I'd say, so yeah, just straight up for the reviews, I'd say it's very good. However, for anyone else who wants to know a bit more, feel free to join me for the rest of the video as I'll be going into a bit more depth as to what Elden Ring is, Nightreign that is, the different classes, the different abilities, all that kind of stuff, and then my personal opinions on each part of it, as well as a bit of footage that I've recorded myself from that day. Keep in mind, it's not going to be the best footage ever, just because I didn't have my capture card with me, so I literally had to use my damn phone, so it's not going to look like the best. But I'll try and edit it and make it look as good as possible. It won't be used very often anyway. Most of this video will just be me talking to you guys. So let's get to it. So, what is Elden Ring Nightreign? A lot of people have compared it to a roguelike, which I can definitely agree on. It definitely gives off those kind of vibes. It's basically just a 3-player online multiplayer game. It's just a kind of standalone spin-off of the actual Elden Ring, obviously. And you'll be going into it with 2 other friends and be playing for 3 full night and day cycles. The day being when you kind of collect your loot, get good, get all the upgrades, bits like that. And then night cycle being when you get your main boss, that will come in and you'll fight that. Gameplay wise, unlike the base game Elden Ring, it's quite different. I mean, as you'd expect for it being a roguelike. But it's a lot more kind of fast-paced, way more fast-paced. It's a lot more intense, and it kind of leads you a lot more to where you have to go. So, like, opposed to Elden Ring, you don't really get told much of anything, really, in that game, where to go. I mean, you do a bit, because usually you get the graces that point in the right direction. But for the most part in base game Elden Ring, it's just an open world for you to fully explore. But in this, it's like a very condensed version of it's like a kind of section of Limgrave, I think. Well, it is. It's a section of Limgrave that's kind of been taken out. And you have the storm, which I haven't mentioned now, but it's a pretty big part of it. I don't know why I haven't brought that up. But you have a storm which will just slowly kind of close in, and then you'll finish off in a little circle, which will be where, again, you get your kind of night section, your kind of night cycle where you'll fight the boss for the end of that match. Another way the kind of game works is you'll drop straight in. As soon as you've landed with your mates, you'll loot up, level up, all that kind of stuff. Leveling works a bit different in this game, unlike base Elden Ring, where you can pick to go into vigor or strength or endurance. Instead, in this version, like in this standalone, all your points you just put all your levels into just your character itself. There isn't any individual stats for you to do, which is a bit of a bummer, I guess, in some ways. But I don't think it affects the game in any way. I think it's fine. Honestly, it makes more sense for this kind of fast-paced style of game for it to have that anyway. But you obviously get souls and stuff like that, like you do in any other Souls game. And when you get them, and you just like when you get high enough amount of them, you just level your character up, and that will just boost everything about you. You'll do more damage, increases your health, all that kind of stuff. So it's an all-around stat buff, pretty much. Looting-wise in this game, you'll get a wide variety of things to get. So you can loot for both weapons, potions, pots to throw, items to use to increase your stamina, like for a short time, things like that. Similar to base game Elden Ring, with that kind of loot you can get. All of that's kind of put into the game as just like a little bit extra for you to use in your adventure. Another thing that's unlike Elden Ring is you won't have the opportunity to create your own character, which I understand would be a bit of a bummer for some people. But instead, we have 8 characters to pick from with a wide range of different abilities. So far, we have the Duchess, Wilder, Guardian, and the Recluse. They're the 4 that I've personally got to chance to play as, and they're all very good, to be fair. But there will be another 4 which will be revealed some point in the future. Seeing as these characters are such an integral part of this game, I'll go into a bit more detail on them right now. Let's start off with the stats of each of these characters. The Wilder has 200 HP, 55 FP, and 54 stamina. Guardian has 260 HP, 55 FP, and 60 stamina. The Duchess has 160 HP, 65 FP, and 54 stamina. And the Recluse finally has 140 HP, 70 FP, and 54 stamina. Going back to the Wilder, for the starting armament, we have the Wilder's Greatsword, as well as the Wilder's Small Shield. Its character skill is Claw Shot, which fires out a grappling hook, which allows you to reel in small enemies, as well as put yourself towards larger enemies and terrain. And the ultimate art is Onslaught Stake, which fires a short-ranged explosive bolt from the wrist crossbow. And the longer you hold this, the stronger it gets. So for the Guardian's starting armament, we have the Guardian's Halberd and Shield. Its passive ability is called Steel Guard, and it's basically just a kind of better block. So if you dodge while blocking, it will kind of activate it. And it will slowly drain your stamina, but it will make it so whenever you get hit in this state, you won't lose any stamina or take any damage, basically. So it's like a kind of buffed guard. It feels a bit iffy, if you ask me. I don't think it's like the best thing ever, but it's definitely not bad by any means. Its character skill is Whirlwind, so this is another one that if you hold, it'll kind of make it larger. It's basically a small cyclone, which you can put in front of you, and it will kind of push enemies away or into the ground, depending on what it is. And finally, its ultimate art is called Wings of Salvation. You basically launch yourself into the air, kind of hover around there for a bit, and then come crashing back down into the ground, dealing kind of big AoE damage. The Duchess's starting armament is the Magic Dagger. Her passive ability is called Magnificent Pose. It basically is like a better dodge, so whenever you dodge around, it enhances it and kind of makes it into a double step. Also, you kind of backflip around and things like that. Her character skill is called Restage. It basically repeats any damage taken to a enemy within the last few seconds. It's very fucking handy if you have like a whole team like kind of blasting like at a boss or something like that. Then you use that, just double the power going in. It's very useful, very, very good. And the Duchess's ultimate art is called Finale, which makes her and any of her nearby allies invisible for up to 8 seconds. And the good thing about this is attacking or getting hit while in this state doesn't affect it. You still stay invisible for those 8 seconds, no matter what. And finally, we have the Recluse. Her starting armament is the Recluse's Staff, go figures, which has Glintstone Pebble and Glintstone Arc built into it. Her passive ability is Elemental Defense, which allows her to restore her FP. Her character skill is called Magic Cocktail. This one's really cool because it allows her to collect a damage type off of an enemy. So say, for example, you threw like a fire pot on some enemy. You can then collect that fire damage off of her, and it'll be added to your kind of arsenal. I'll show you a kind of example image of this right now. There's like a triangle with 3 circles in each corner. Each time you collect an elemental type, it'll get added down there. And depending on what combo of elements you have in that will depend on what then a kind of special move you can do at the very end. And that's really cool. I really like that. So if you like, for example, if you get all fire, you just launch a massive fireball. If you get, I think it was, what was it? Light, fire, magic, I think it was. You can basically make this really cool, like, purple explosion bomb, like a Gojo or something, shooting a hollow purple, which is quite cool. Or anything. I think it's up to like 40 different like combinations of spells that you can kind of do, which is crazy. And finally, her ultimate art is called Soul Blood Song, which marks nearby enemies with a blood sigil, allowing them to siphon HP and FP off of them. Next, let's talk about the enemies, because what's a Souls game without tough and hard enemies? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, okay, that did sound a bit weird, but we'll go over that. You know what I mean. Enemies-wise, the majority of them seem to be from Elden Ring, which I have nothing against, because all of them seem to be kind of reworked and reimagined at least a little bit to make them feel a bit different. So I don't mind it too much that they've brought in characters from Elden Ring. Don't mind that at all. But the thing I really do like is how they've brought back bosses from previous games, such as the Centipede Demon from Dark Souls 1, the Nameless King from Dark Souls 3, and the Duke Steerfrieder from Dark Souls 2. I really like this concept because, I mean, I'm a nerd for all these games, and being able to fight them again, kind of like reimagined, it's like perfect for me because some of these characters are so cool, especially Nameless King. I can't wait to be able to fight that guy. That's gonna be sick. But now to name the rest of the enemies, these will all now be from base game Elden Ring, pretty much. We have the Ancient Heroes Amor, probably butchered that. Bellbearing Hunter. We have Draconic Tree Sentinel. We have the Fell Omen. We have the Demi-Human Queen. We have Demi-Human Swordsman. Ancient Dragon. Flying Dragon on the Hill, which I think is like a kind of Nightreign, like exclusive kind of dragon boss they made. Wormface. Golden Hippopotamus. Flaming Coritus. I don't very much butchered that. What I meant to say there was Flaming Chariot. I don't know how the hell I even pronounced that so poorly, but back to the video. Fire Monk, the Crucible Knight, Crystallians, Godskin Noble, Guardian Golem, Leonine Misbegotten, the Lordsworn Captain, the Miranda Blossoms. We have the Royal Army Knights as well as the Royal Carrion Knights, the Sanjan Noble. Definitely didn't say that right. And then Elder Lion is the final one. That is the list of like all the confirmed kind of enemies and bosses so far, at least from what I could see. Feel free to let me know in the comments or whatever. And finally, it's time for my personal review. So, drum roll please, drum roll please. 7.5. That's what I'd give it out of 10 so far, I'd say. A good old 7.5. So not bad at all. Don't get me wrong. Before you start sending death threats or some shit. Hey, pause. Damn. Nah, the reason I picked 7.5 is simply because I've only really played about 20% of the game, G. Like in reality, the little slice that I got given as like a test trial and played for like 4 hours is such a small part of the actual game that I honestly I feel like I can't raise the number any higher, if you know what I mean. But I can easily see this if they keep it up, and I mean it's from software. They're not gonna really take the piss, are they? If they just keep doing what they usually do, I can see this easily getting like a 9.5 or something easily if they keep at it and keep working at it. Because the combat itself, amazing, very fun. The variety of different classes and builds, great. Especially how many different ways to play each class is insane as well. I love that so much. The variety of bosses they're bringing in, pulling stuff from old games, making new ones. I really love what they're doing with this. I can't lie. I'd be lying if I said I couldn't put it any lower than a 7.5 because that would be blasphemy. But I literally can't raise it any higher simply because I played 20% and I would be straight glazed putting a 10. You know what I'm saying? If I'm being real, I have to put 7.5. I think is like the perfect thing, and the 7.5 is a fucking amazing for 3 hours of playing a test, if you know what I mean. But everything I've seen so far from this game has been amazing. I've really liked it, like a lot. So if they keep it up and it keeps getting better, which I know it will, when the full game's out, I already know it's not going to be worse, is it? I already know it's going to get better. So when that full game comes out, I already know this grade will get raised to like a 9.5 probably. Which I will be streaming, so, you know, come follow me on Twitch, you know what I'm saying? But that's my final review. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one, yeah?